There goes engine room again. Offline. Another meteoroid hit it and blasted another big freaking hole in it. Okay, so now what do we want to do? We want to move one here. Room is powered up. We're going to get our food rations. So now we have 2 characters that have 3 of the 4 items that they need. And then we're going, that was, 1, 2. We're going to jump right back over here for 3. And on the next turn, we're going to go up there for the navigations code. And we're going to look at that, try to get out of here. But the engine room has got to have power as well. And we got to have the fuse set, which we haven't done yet. Okay, because this character only knows, you know what we're going to do?
Join the team.
Jump to another room. It's almost like everything you own just gets like sucked into space. Hey team, this is McGuire Review, and today we're going to be taking a look at a brand new game, technically from a brand new board game company, and that is Mission Catastrophe from the new Cardboard Alchemy. And I'm really excited what's going to be coming out of Cardboard Alchemy because I am absolutely loving Mission Catastrophe. It's going to be an awesome Kickstarter, and just like we do it here on the channel, we're going to do some epic level awesome giveaways. Before we get into the multiple number of giveaways that we're going to do, because we're going to do a couple different types of giveaways, let's talk about what this game is going to offer over the course of the Kickstarter period. So there are going to be miniatures in this game. You will see some standees that are here right now. There is also going to be game trays. So you'll have game trays, neat and nice, right in your box to organize all the components. There's going to be new characters. There's going to be expansions, more miniatures, more content, more roles that can be played within the game. We're going to talk about all these things when we go through the setup and the gameplay. This is going to be a little bit of a longer video because we are going to go through some setup and we are going to do a good amount of gameplay as well. And that's just so you can get a good feel for the game. And then there's also going to be multiple play modes of this game. Now, the prototype that we have here is going to be a 2 to 6 player competitive type title. There's also going to be team and co-op modes. They're going to be available as gameplay as well. There's going to be an awesome only on Kickstarter limited edition. Okay, we got some of those Kickstarter goodies out of the way. Let's get right into the 2 different giveaways that we're going to do for this title. Now I'm going to save this little special box right up here up front, because I know what this box is. Bear knows what this box is. And soon will you, because there's something pretty cool in this box, and it's going to be part of one of the giveaways. And I'm really excited about what's in this box and that part of the giveaway. Well, they're both pretty awesome. I mean, both giveaways are pretty epic level. All right, let's talk about the first of the 2 giveaways. There are 2 paths that you can take here, and frankly, you can take both of them if you wish. I would recommend that because it gives you double the amount of chance of getting something. So path number 1 of the giveaway will be a full Kickstarter edition of this game with the expansion. Okay, so it's all in. It's the limited Kickstarter edition of this game plus the expansion that's going to come with this. And the expansion is awesome. You'll see this on the Kickstarter site here very soon. The expansion is pretty nuts. I mean, it's a lot of stuff for the money. It's an awesome setup. So that is path number 1. To be able to be entered in that giveaway for the full Kickstarter version of the game plus the expansion, shipped to you worldwide for free, you need to follow here on YouTube, comment below. If you want to like the video, those things help. Please do that if you'd also like to do that. But you need to subscribe here on YouTube on the video and comment below. You can make any comment that you want to leave. You can say hi. You can say you love the game. You can ask a question. 3 days before the end of the Kickstarter, Bear will click the button of fate, and 1 lucky team member will be selected to be able to win that package. That is option 1. That is path 1 of the giveaway. Path 2 of the giveaway is go to the McGuire Review Twitter account. It's at theMCGuiRE. You can find all those details on the channel here in the description of the video below. You need to follow me on Twitter. There's going to be a tweet pinned to the top of my account. You need to like that tweet and retweet that tweet. And you need to be following me on Twitter. If you do those 3 things, you are entered into option or path 2 of the giveaway, which will be for the prototype that you see here in front of you. So I will be giving away this entire prototype as you see it here. It's in a really high condition. This isn't, cheap by any means, a cheap prototype. It's in a very, very high, somewhat productionalized phase of the game. Obviously, they're going to make way more tweaks for the final version of the game to, all the quality of everything, just like any company does. However, this is a really, really nice prototype. You're going to get the standees, and you're going to get what's in this box. You're not going to get the box, but you're going to get what's in the box. And this is where the Twitter giveaway, or Path 2, is very unique and very special. You are going to get a very, very small, limited run of the resin miniatures for this game. Now, these are not going to be the plastic miniatures that you'll get in the finalized version. These are resin, 3D printed resin miniatures that you can use in this game for each one of the characters, and we'll pull that out. Oh, there we go. There's Chad, looking good. Okay, we'll get each one of these out. Very cool. They're painted up to match the color that they would go with. All right, let's get all these out of here. All these miniatures, and you're even going to get some, this is very cool. One of the miniatures there is one of the characters. I love that one. And then you're even going to get a number of the little alien miniatures, and this is what you'll find in the expansion, these little alien miniatures. So we're going to put those right out front here, and you'll be able to get your hands on a set of those in resin as well. Okay, so that's what makes the Twitter giveaway so awesome. We're going to take this, Bear, if you hold this, please. So you can see the Twitter giveaway, or Path 2 of our giveaways, is going to be pretty sweet. And I wanted to make the prototype with the special limited run of the... And you can't get your hands on these any other way. That's it, team. Like, this is one of the things where you would think, oh, I'm not going to give that away. But I do, because I want to give back to the team. That's kind of the point here. You guys are coming, you're watching the videos. I want to be able to provide an awesome giveaway to give some lucky winner something very, very cool. These you're not going to be able to get anywhere else at all, ever. This is a limited run of resin miniatures for the game. You get the full set of all 6 players, plus you get the resin aliens. Bear, if you can hit those with the miniature cam, then we can get up close on all those miniatures and you can see them really well. Okay, those are the 2 giveaways we're gonna do. Don't miss out. Don't miss out, team. Do both paths. Okay. If you don't have a Twitter account, go make one. Follow me on Twitter. Okay, those are the 2 paths for the 2 epic level giveaways that we're gonna be doing on the channel for Mission Catastrophe, and that winner for the Twitter pool will be selected on the last day of the Kickstarter. So on the last day of the Kickstarter, we'll hit the button of fate, and the Twitter path, everything you see here, will get selected, again, 3 days before the Kickstarter is over for Path 1, which is the YouTube for the full-scale edition of the game with the expansion. Okay? Mission Catastrophe, here's the box, the Prototype Edition box. You're also going to get the Prototype Edition box if you get that Twitter win. Pretty awesome. It's the full box with the prototype printed on it. It's just really cool. It's really cool to have because this is an awesome game, and I think everybody's really going to like this. I think this is going to do very well. It's a very, very fun game. Okay, so we're going to take this box. Bear, if you can hold this. Okay, so what is Mission Catastrophe about? We're going to set this aside as well, Bear, and then we're going to get into this manual. We're going to go through all of the components that we've got here on the table. We're going to explain how things work. Then we're going to do a little setup, and we're going to start playing the game. I think this is one where I really need to play a few rounds of this game on camera, so you really get a feel for the tense nature of this game and how it plays out. There's definitely some things that you're going to see here that's going to feel familiar, but I think it's the use of certain mechanics, it's the use of certain concepts, all sort of put together and twisted into its own unique experience that I think makes Mission Catastrophe something that is really neat, and it's a really, really fun game. It also plays out pretty quickly. So let's go through the components here. We do have the reference cards, and again, these things are going to change as they're productionalized. Maybe the reference cards get a little bit bigger. Maybe they include a little bit more. Maybe there's some boards that give you some reference around what the different rooms do or what the different cards do. There is a number of iconography that's used in this game, which is not a problem. literally by the second round, you're picking up on what all the symbols mean and what all the rooms do. It's designed very intuitively. So that's something that I found as we were playing it. So you get in here to the player reference cards. You do have these. Okay, it's going to give you kind of what you're going to be able to do on your turn, the phases of that turn. You do have your player cards. Now these are each one of the characters in the game. You've got there, it's a 2 to 6 player game again for kind of a standard mode. The artwork is really cool. I love that. I love the space theme. And the game does a very good job with the theme as well. Like certain things that happen over the course of the game, it taps into the theme of this game really, really well. The artwork is awesome. I absolutely love the artwork. I love the characters. But each one of these cards is going to show you the character artwork, as well as a little something there, some text that's on the card. They're all very unique, and you will then be able to customize those characters. Here's the standees for these two. For our demo game here, we're going to use these 4 characters. You will then be able to customize your character even further with these different roles. Now there are 6 different roles that are in the base or my prototype edition here, and as we saw on the Kickstarter sheet, where'd it go? It's down here with Bear. There's going to be a number of other roles that are going to be unlocked through stretch goals as well. That's going to give you even further, more option in being able to customize your characters. Now, what's nice about this is it isn't just, okay, we've got first mate, communications officer, engineer, quartermaster, captain, and pilot. It isn't just, well, I can be one of those. Within that role, there is a subset of roles. So each one of these functions or roles actually has 3 cards. And you're going to take one of these when you start the game and you select your character, and you're going to look, let's say for pilot, you're going to look at all 3 of these cards, and all 3 of them are going to be completely different. Each card is completely different on what the actual function of that type of pilot does. So for instance, this one's called Double or Nothing. Dice are rolled. This is on anybody's turn, and you get 3 charges. So some of them have these little cubes with plus symbols, and you can grab 3 of these little charges, and you would have them over the course of the game, and you can use those charges. That's what these little green cubes are for, to be able to do special things over the course of the game. The only way you're getting those charges is if you get a roll that includes the charges. It says you may re-roll dice, but new roll does 2 times. So you can re-roll the dice, but if you re-roll the damage dice, you do 2 times that amount of damage to whatever it hits. So that can be deadly, but it can save you if there's a certain room that you don't want damaged. And we'll talk about how those damage dice work. Okay? There's also part of a plan. And again, this is all just the pilot. When any player uses navigation, you immediately draw an operations card. Again, you get charges for that one. This one, who left this here? When ship integrity reaches a gold or a yellow marker, which is right here, this is the ship's integrity board. We're going to take a look at that here in a second. We'll go ahead and pull these off of that ship's integrity board. This is really the board that's going to track the integrity or the overall damage of your ship for the game. But whenever you do reach one of these yellow areas, you immediately gain navigation codes card. That could be really, really powerful if you're looking for that navigation card. Okay, interesting. What does that mean, the navigation card? Let's put that back. Okay, so those are the roles, just an example of the different roles you can take. Then we've got the operations manual, emergency operations manual. These cards here are your operation cards. It's like a little feather. Back to Featherland. These cards here are primarily going to be, well, they are the cards that are going to be in your hand over the course of the game. You will start the game with 3 of these. You then will gain more depending on going to a different room within the ship here, the operations room, which happens to be right here in the center. You will gain more of these cards. You have a card hand limit of 7. And they're going to do a number of different things. You're going to be able to override people's actions. You're going to be able to do quick thinking, which means you can kind of pause the game before damage is rolled and do something and then sort of unpause it. Quick thinking is really cool. You can also pause other players' actions or cards as well, which is neat. There's a scavenge, where you can repair one of the little modules within a room, taking a module from another room. That's pretty cool. What's some other ones here? Ava, which is awesome. You can move from one room to any other room. So there's just going to be an electrical path electrical. Patch. That's a neat one. Remote or move the fuse to any one of the 6 escape pods. That's a really powerful one too, endgame. So there's just a number of things you can do. There's also a really cool one in here called Spacesuit, which will allow you to walk through rooms which have completely lost any type of oxygen. Very powerful. You want to get that spacesuit out right away if you do get that. It also saves you from what happens if you're in a room that ends up losing oxygen, which is very, very bad. You lose all the cards in your hand. You have to jump to another room. It's almost like everything you own just gets like sucked into space. Okay, you're going to have your ship here that you're on, which is made up of a number of different rooms. So you have all the rooms within your spaceship that is basically failing by the minute, and you have to pretty much be the person that gets everything that's required. Something has to have power, and then you have to get to an escape pod and get out of there. We'll talk about all that here in just a second. So each one of these rooms in the ship will do something other than the crew quarters. The crew quarters doesn't really do anything, nor can it be damaged directly. However, it can take damage within a cascade. We'll talk about what that means. That gets really deadly. Then you have your escape pods, which are going to need to be active. You'll jump into one and escape the ship at the very end, and there's really only one person that can jump into a pod and escape. Once they've done that, that person's essentially won the game. Pretty much everybody else dies, which is a really interesting mechanic to this game because there is sort of this rush to be the first person that's able to acquire 4 different types of materials, have the engine room working, and get to an escape pod that is still effectively existing that's attached to the ship and take off and get out of there. And you have to have your escape pod fuse set to the right escape pod. So it really provides this fun kind of nail-biting experience as you're going through the game, and as you get to sort of mid-game and end-game, it really is this, like, things are failing everywhere, you're trying to repair, there's cascade failings happening, escape pods are blowing up as rooms lose power and they fall off the ship, and you're trying to acquire what you need and get to one of those escape pods to win, which does get really tense at the end of the game, and it's a lot of fun. There is 4 different materials that you're going to have to acquire to win the game: the power pack, the oxygen tank, the food rations, and the navigation codes. And I do have those placed right next to the room that you would get those things from. Some of these rooms have an action where they'll just do something for you, like the cargo bay. You're able to search the discard pile. When you have a discard pile, as people are playing cards or losing cards over the course of the game, you put a discard pile right here. Cargo bay allows you to pick that up, search through it, take anything you want, and put it back, which can be very powerful if one of the 4 items you need is in that deck. And some rooms just intuitively give you one of the items you need to get off the ship. Again, you need 4 of these items. You do need a power pack, oxygen tank, food rations, and navigations code in your hand to be able to win the game. And those corresponding rooms will provide you that item. Over here, we have the ship integrity board. This is a board that's simply just going to track the health of the ship over the course of the game. You do have the green area, the yellow area, and the red area. And that's just going to track that ship's integrity. Once you start getting into this yellow area and red area, things are not good, and you are probably going to lose the game if you haven't got out of there yet. And then over here on the very side is going to be where you track the fuse code for the proper escape code. Or a proper escape pod. Now, it isn't as easy as just saying, okay, I've got all my stuff, I get to a room, and I jump in a pod and I take off. Every one of these pods has got a letter underneath of them. This one here says E. So they each have a letter, and those letters will correspond to the fuse setting on this card here. So you're going to have to be peeking at these over the course of the game, and there's different rooms that will allow you to peek at these codes and be able to see which letter is where, and then that's going to tell you as a player where you need to set the fuse for the game to get to the right pod and escape at the end. Now, it's interesting because you think, well, all you have to do is just set it, and then someone else a peek and set it, and any of those things will work. Yes, but what's going to happen is over the course of the game, if these rooms completely power down or lose all 3 of their tokens, which essentially means it's powered down as well as it has no oxygen, that escape pod will then break off and float off into space. And that may have been one that you knew what the letter was and you had the fuse set. Now you need to kind of start over and like, okay, well, who else has set what other fuse? And you technically could, as a player, just say, oh, I know this is E. Yeah, I'm going to set fuse A. Maybe you do it early in the game. You don't even set it on E, and someone thinks, oh, that must be A, and then they run to it. So there's some mind games you can play as well as you're playing the game. It's a little bit of a risk, but it's definitely a mind job that you can kind of play on the rest of the players if you want to go that route, which can be very interesting and kind of funny if you throw people off thinking that an escape pod is one letter and it really isn't. Okay, last thing you're going to have here is your damage dice. You're going to roll these 2 dice at the beginning of every single person's turn automatically, unless you got that quick think card we saw, which could kind of pause that before you roll those damage dice. But you would roll these dice, and then whatever came up on the dice, I rolled a 5 and a 1, that's 6. I would go to room number 6, which in this setup, room number 6 is the greenhouse. And I would go, well, it's room number 6 is always going to be the greenhouse. I'm going to go to the greenhouse, and I'm going to damage it by 1 cube. And you're always going to start from the very top. When you start the game, and we'll set it up here in a minute, all 3 of these cubes are going to be set on each one of these rooms of the ship. That's how the dice work, and that is the only thing those dice are going to be used for. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick setup of the game. We're going to move into that kind of phase of the video here. And I'm gonna go ahead and set up the game as if it was brand new. So you are gonna grab and you're gonna put a cube on each one of these escape pods to indicate that the escape pod has power and it is attached to the ship. We are then going to load up 3 of these for each one of the rooms. Then going to select a character for each player. And let's say these are the characters the players selected. We're then going to select our standees or your awesome miniatures you could get if you win that Twitter giveaway. And they're all going to start here in the operations room. I'm sorry, they're not going to start here. They're going to start in the crew quarters. We've got everybody in our crew quarters. We're then going to select a role. So let's just say we're going to go with, let's say that Zando here goes with captain. Let's make old... T-Terp TikTok, the engineer, and let's go communications officer here with Jisma 262, and then let's go pilot over here with Chad. Now you would look through these as players, and again, you're only going to select one. Just for our demo, we're just going to grab a random one here. We're going to grab that. Engineer, we're just going to take that top one. I like to set that card right up top there, so it's easy for everybody to see. We'll take the bottom one there, and we'll take the bottom one there. Okay, so put these back. Our roles have now been selected. So let's take a look at those real quick so we can see what each player now is customized and being able to do. Okay, so for the first one here, we've got make sure it works, action. And this can happen only on your turn. Fix an out of power module and then use it immediately. Ooh, nice. That's pretty powerful. So for an action, you can fix an out of power module, any of these rooms that are out of power that you're in, and then you can use it immediately. That's pretty awesome. Okay, next one here is, of course I have one. When ship integrity reaches the yellow area, okay, so if it reaches this area, which it will pretty quickly as you start to play, you immediately gain the power pack card. That's important. So that means that I am probably never going to try to get over to this engine room because I know that it's going to reach this yellow integrity at some point, and I'm just automatically going to get that power pack from the engine room. Then here, we've got computer scan. Another player enters your location. You may immediately look at a player's hand. Okay? That's going to be beneficial because you can then see how many of the 4 main items that player may have. Here, we got who left this here. When ship integrity reaches the yellow, another one, you may immediately gain navigation cards. So this pilot, or Chad, is going to not have to really worry about the navigation room too much because once you get yellow integrity, which is going to happen within the game, you're automatically going to get that navigation card. So it's a pretty good spread on the rolls. Okay, we're now going to roll damage to start off the game. Each player will roll the dice and then damage an area of the ship. So we'll roll here, and it's going to be 8, so location 8, which is up here. So now our navigation room has been damaged, and you'll put that right on your ship's integrity board at the highest number, which is 39. I'm sorry, 33, which is 33. So we'll put that right there. Another thing to note as we go through the damage, now that we're getting into the rules of the game, is that each one of these rooms look exactly the same from this area right here. Your top is, if it's all the way full, it's fully powered. If it only has 2, it's been damaged, which means a meteor has hit that area of the ship. And that's the whole premise of the game, and the feel is that a meteor shower is like pummeling your ship, and you're basically just trying to escape before the whole ship gets blown up. Once the second cube comes out, now this room no longer has power, which means this module, this room, cannot be used. It can't be activated. The ability of this can't take place. If the third cube comes out, that means all of a sudden now a meteor blasts through this area and it is now open to space. And it cannot be used at all. You can't even enter this room unless you have a spacesuit. Now, one of the things, if you are in this room, when it loses all of its power, if that happened, if you don't have a spacesuit on, you can jump to an adjacent room, not diagonal. Everything is up, down, left, right in this game. Movement, that's how everything works, no diagonals. You can jump to another room for free that has air, but every card in your hand, it's like all your stuff gets sucked out into space. And I like that little thematic mechanic that they put into this game, where if you are in a room like that, that's what would happen. Now, there's actually a hard mode of the game where if that happens, you're just immediately dead and you're out of the game, which does make the game very, very difficult. You got to really, really watch your repairing when those kind of things happen. Okay, so this room has been damaged. We've talked about kind of how those rooms work. Now we're going to go to the next player. We're going to roll for that initial damage. It's 6. We're going to go here up. The greenhouse just lost, got hit with a meteor. Still has power, okay, because the cube's still there and still has oxygen, so it's perfectly okay. Just that one damage doesn't hurt us too much. All right, then we've got 9. Room number 9 gets damaged, which is right up here, the cargo bay. So you can see now we're already filling up that board. And then room 10 gets damaged, which is the teleporter. Teleporter can send you anywhere you want to go in the ship, which is pretty neat. Okay, so the initial damage has been done. Now you're going to get 3 cards. The one thing that I will tell you is there is one of each one of our main items that we need that are also in this deck. So you do have the option or the ability to get one of those cards just by drawing cards. And that's where the operations room comes into play. And it's very important because the operations room allows you to draw 3 cards from this deck and keep 1. Discarding the other 2 to the bottom of the draw deck. So it's just a mechanic to be able to burn through this deck as all 4 players are deciding to use that operations room over the course of the game to be able to maybe get one of the items that they need literally from a draw. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. And those will be our hand of cards that will start with the game. So let's flip these over. We're going to take a look at these cards. Oh, there we go. Zando already got the oxygen tank just from that pool. That was lucky. Flip. Oh, nice. TikTok. T-Turp TikTok picked up the power pack. Okay, nothing there. Those are all just different ability cards. However, we got the spacesuit. We did get 2 of those, so we're going to have to kind of hang on to that until we hit that 7-hand card limit we can discard. But the spacesuit we've already got. That's very powerful. And then, Chad got a spacesuit as well with scavenge and remote repair, which can be very powerful. Remote repair can allow you to repair another area and not have to actually be standing in that room. We'll just keep all our cards down here for our players as we play. We'll keep them all face up. Normally you would have these cards hidden. This will make it easier for the demo as we go through the cards and we make choices. Okay, so we got our role, we got our player, everybody's in the captain's or the crew quarters. We've got all of our cards ready to go. We've done our initial damage to the ship and we're done. Now, since we've talked about damage, let's talk about cascading damage, because that's where this game can get really very tactical very fast. So as you damage rooms, if at any point in time in your plane, and we'll just use our navigation room here, these get removed, okay? Once a room gets a meteor blast that's punched through it, it will damage every room that is next to it. Not diagonally, completely true, let's just say, like standard adjacent. That's what we'll say. Every room next to it. Now, not so bad if it's a corner room because you just got the one on either side, but if it's a center room, you're damaging 4 other rooms around it, so it can be very deadly very quick. And cascading does stack. So if you cascade damage and you take damage away from another room and that's the room's last, it continues to cascade out. So it can get very deadly very quick, and you're going to want to watch where that is. Sometimes you're going to be repairing stuff on your turn and taking your own actions to do so, and maybe you don't even want to do that, but you're going to do it for the good of the ship because it can really damage you as a player as well. So once that third cube is removed, you then would say, well, it's got to be 1 damage to this room and 1 damage to this room. And again, that can further cascade if those rooms only had 1 cube. So we'll put those back. That's how cascading damage works. And that can get very deadly very quickly. Okay? And the other thing to know with damage is once a room is fully damaged, you then lose that pod as well. So all of that is going to go then to your integrity board, and that pod will be gone for the rest of the game. So that's something to make sure you pay attention to. You don't have rooms where you just lose escape pods, because you're giving yourself way less choice of escape pod once they do start to kind of drift off into space and get blown off by those meteor blasts. All right? That's pretty much everything with damage that you're going to run into. Okay, so how do you win the game? To win the game, you have to have all 4 main materials. We talked about those: the power pack, the oxygen tank, the navigation codes, and the food ration. You'll either get them through the deck, like we got lucky right there, or you get to that room and you activate the room's ability if it has power, and then you would gain that item. That's one of the things you got to do. The second thing you got to do is the engine room has to at least have power. It can be damaged, but it has to at least have still that second cube and have power. Third thing that has to be there for you to win is you have to know which escape pod is which. So you would have looked at that escape pod over the course of the game, either being in a room that's adjacent to an escape pod, you can use an action to peek, or if you get to the sensors room, the sensors room will allow you to peek at an escape pod as well. And then you also have to have the fuse set to the right escape pod by use of, there's a couple different ways to set that fuse, but you have to have the fuse set as well. Okay, so there's 4 things. You got to have the items, you got to have engine power, you got to have the fuse set, and you got to be able to get to a room that has an escape pod and use that escape pod to escape the ship. And one nuance, it does take an action to board the escape pod. So it isn't just using one of your actions to get to a room that still has a usable escape pod. You have to have enough actions to actually board the escape pod to then escape. Okay? So very simple game, very simple concepts when it's your turn. However, there's a lot of things that have to be right for you to be able to actually win. And this is what gets really tense when you're going through the game and you're playing with all the rest of the players, because everybody has that amount of sort of things that they need to happen to be able to win. Ton of fun, team. You're going to have a great time with this game. It is a lot of fun. It's a great gateway game, and you can play this with about anybody, and I promise you they're going to have fun. Now, when it is your turn, you will have a number of actions that you can take. Every time it's your turn, you'll have 3 actions, and those actions can be used multiple times. So if you want to move 3 times, that's one of the actions. You can use 3 move actions, and your turn would be over. The only thing that is a little bit of a change to that rule is once you get to a room, you can't execute the ability of a room or a module 3 times. You can only execute it up to 1 time on your turn. That's the only thing that is a little bit of a difference there with the you can use the actions a number of times. Now when it is your turn, you know what? We won't even use this. We will use our handy dandy. So I want to make sure I don't miss any of these when I go through this part. all the actions you can do is you can move. Basically, you move to another connected module, up, down, left, right. You can draw operations cards. So you can actually take one of your actions to just draw operation cards. And you would just draw one card. And you could, again, you could draw 2 cards on your turn. That'd be 2 of your 3 actions. That's up to you. That might be actually beneficial to you. I have seen some strategies where, players will utilize that action to draw cards at least once from every time it's their turn. And they'll kind of hover around this operations room to try to see if they can get the components that are in this deck, because there's one of each one of the components on this deck, especially if there's someone who's already drawn one from the very beginning. Now, that may be wasted because maybe those came out, maybe they all came out within the initial draw and you just don't know that yet. But it is one way to get a lot of cards and a lot of different options into your hand. You can use the operations card. So use one of these cards that are in your hand. They do different things. We went through some of them. You can repair a module that you're standing in. You can use a module that you're standing in. You can view the escape pod fuse, which means if you are standing in a room that is attached to still an escape pod that still exists, you can peek at that as a player for an action and know which code is where. So you go, oh, this is E, this is D, this is C, and you'll know where to set the fuse and then which corresponding escape pod to get to, if everything plays out right. Or you can activate a roll card ability, which is our rolls that we set at the very beginning of the game. You can activate one of those. Those are all the different actions that you can take on your turn. The phase of your turn is right on this card as well. You're going to damage, you roll your 2 dice, damage whatever the number it comes up with. You are then going to take your 3 actions. Okay? That is your turn, and it is that simple of a game. It's that simple of a concept, but again, there's so many tactical things going on. I would say the strategy of this game probably only goes 2, maybe 3 turns out if you're lucky. Past that point, anything can really happen. Every time modules are getting damaged, escape pods are being lost, people are playing different types of cards. I think 2 turns out is pretty safe. You get lucky with 3. I wouldn't say you're going to have anything longer strategically than out for 3 rounds. And then that's a long shot at that. This is definitely more of a tactical kind of reactionary type game. You're going to have to deal with the situation that you have on each turn. Okay? So we're going to start playing right now. We're going to go into now the gameplay phase of this video. And we're going to start off with a roll. So let's review here. Okay. Fix an out of power module and use it immediately. That's my action, and that can happen only on my turn. Fix an out of power module and then use it immediately. So I'm going to need to be positioned there to being able to do that. I can't just pick anything from what I'm going to play this as that you have to actually be positioned there. I haven't played this to where you can just do it anywhere. Okay, so I'm going to roll, and we got 6 and 5, 11. So we go to 11. Oh, it's the bridge. The bridge gets damaged. So now the bridge is damaged. Now I can take my 3 actions. The first thing I'm going to do is I want to know as many of these escape pods as possible. So I'm going to use my first action to peek at the escape pod that's located here. So I'm going to go there and look at it. Okay, so now I know as a player only that this is E. This escape pod that's sitting right here that's attached is E. No one else knows that. I secretly looked at it. So I know that at some point in time, if E is activated or I can activate E and that's still there, that's something I need to be able to win. So that's the first action. Second action is, let's see here. I am going to move to the teleporter. Now the teleporter still has power, so I can use my third action to activate the teleporter, which I will. And I already have the oxygen tank, so I don't really care about life support because I've already got the oxygen tank. I'm going to, I am going to zip up here. I'm going to use a teleporter to transport over here to the engine room. And that was my third action. So I can't now activate the engine room to get the power pack. That's my third action. My turn's over. It's the next person's turn. Come on, TikTok. What do you got? TikTok is going to roll 6, 7, 8. So we're going to go here and damage room 8. Uh-oh. Navigation center is already down. It has no power. It cannot be activated, so I can't get a card. It has no power. Okay, we don't want that to go down totally. So, okay, when ship integrity, okay, that hasn't happened yet, so I can forget about my engineer ability because it has to be in yellow before it even takes place. All right, I got the power pack. I can scavenge. Okay, I think for my first action, I am going to activate one of my cards here, which is the Requisition Form 2C, and it says that I can take a card from any player in my module or a connected module. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for my first action, and I'm going to take a card from... You know what? I'm going to take a card from this player here. Now, I wouldn't know I'd randomly take one, and I would take a card. Okay? Oh, sweet. I got a spacesuit. Super powerful. So I'm going to go ahead and take an action to go ahead and activate that spacesuit. So I'll just put it up here, and it will stay there for the rest of the game per the rules that we have here. I now am wearing a spacesuit. It took an action to be able to activate that card. I do have a final action that I can take, and I think I'm going to go ahead and take my final action by... I could look at this escape pod, but... You know what? I'm going to move up here to the sensors area for my third and final action, and now my turn is over. And I've got a spacesuit activated. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Okay. We rolled a 9, so now room 9 is going to be damaged. Room 9 is up here. Uh-oh, cargo bay just lost power. Not good. What's it say? Computer scan. Another player enters your location. You may immediately look at that player's hand. Okay. No one's entered my location, and that does take an action to do that. I don't want to do that just yet. So I have 3 actions for my little dude here. I think what I'm going to do is... 1, 2... You know what? I'm worried about navigation losing power and losing a pod. So I'm going to do 1, 2... I'm going to use my third action to repair the navigation center, and that's all I'm going to do. It's kind of for the goodness of the whole ship and everybody, but I don't want to lose that pod just yet. That's my third action, so there's nothing else that I can do. We're going to go here, roll. We got a 6, so room 6 gets damaged. Ugh, the greenhouse is now out of power. Offline, the greenhouse. Okay, we do have a remote repair. So first action, I'm going to remote repair. Now, remote repair allows you to take it from the ship integrity board, just like you would if you were standing and you wanted to repair. However, I could repair anywhere in the ship that I want. I am going to repair the greenhouse to bring it back online to allow me to get up there. So that was my first action. I actually executed that remote repair. My second action is going to be here. My third action is moving over to the greenhouse. I can't get it yet because that was my third action. We're back over here to Zando. Zando's rolling. It's 6, 7, 8. Now, oh, no, God. All right. Navigation gets hit again. Another massive meteor just plowed into it, took out its power. Okay. Where am I? I'm in the engine room. You know what? First action, I'm activating the engine room, and now I have 2 of the 4 things I need. I'm grabbing the power pack. I am then going to take my second action and move to maintenance. And my third action is going to be taking the use of the maintenance room to repair any area of the ship. And I'm going to repair the cargo bay, bringing it back online. I'm not going to bring this back online because I know this player is going to go straight for probably trying to get that card. So I don't want to do that. Make them use one of their actions. Oh, TikTok is up. Whoop! TikTok gets a 7. So now we're going to damage room 7. Oh, where's room 7? Oh, look at that. Engine room just got damaged. Now, TikTok is going to jump over here for 1 action, 2 actions, pick up the food ration, and then I think for... The bridge will allow me to set a fuse. Only this player knows this here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move for my third action. I'm going to move back to, I'm going to move back to the sensors. That's what I'm going to do for my third action. And there's nothing else I can do. That was my third action. Okay, we come here. We roll. We rolled a 4. So the laboratory is now damaged. The laboratory can be powerful if you have to cash in 4 cards. You can take one of any one of the 4 special cards you have to be able to win the game. So if you get a bunch of cards in your hand, there's just a bunch of actions that you don't want. It's a quick way to kind of get that final card that you need that you haven't been able to get. So I see the laboratory generally used near end game than it is used in the beginning of the game. Okay, so we got the 3 actions that we can take. Action number 1, we're repairing navigation, bringing it back online. Action number 2, we're going to grab the navigation codes. So we got one of our cards that we need. In action number 3, we are going to look at this escape pod. And now we know, this player knows that this is escape pod C. No one else knows that. So we got E that this player knows. We got C that this player knows. Excellent. That's a 3rd action going here for the damage. Module 3 is the maintenance. It is now damaged. So we're going to put that right, 23, put that right there. Okay, perfect. All right, now we are going to take Chad, and Chad has not activated yet. So we're going to activate for the 1st action, pick up those food rations. 2nd action, we're going to equip our space suit. We want to get that on just in case. Again, and all these cards are face down, so no one knows who has what cards yet so far. And for the 3rd action, I think what we're going to do is... I think we're going to move. I don't think we're going to do anything else. We're going to move. I want to go check out some stuff. So I'm going to get to operation. So 3rd action, I'm going to move here to the sensors. And that's all I can do. We're back around here. So now we're going to roll. We got 5. Room 5 has now been damaged. That is the life support has now been damaged. We're not to this yellow yet, and some of these characters only have their ability activated once it gets to yellow. We're going to get there. Back to Zando. We're going to call this one our last round of the game for our demo here. So, but you can see how this is playing out. So we got 4, 7. So, engine room is offline. Remember, that engine room has got to be online to be able to win the game. So engine room is offline. We got 2. Where is he located? We got the power pack. We got the oxygen. We need navigation, and we need greenhouse. Do we have anything we can use? No. We can repair. Fix an out of power module. That's not out of power. Let's see. We might do remote repair. No, I'm not going to do remote repair because I don't need anything from this area anymore, so I don't really care, although there could be a stacked... Okay, there's only a couple cards in the discard pile, and you can't look through them, but there's nothing been put there that I really need. I'm going to move here for 1. Second action is I'm going to operate the operations room. I'm going to activate it, which means I get 3 cards, and I can keep 1 of them. Okay? So 3 cards, I can keep 1 of them. And I pulled a spacesuit. So I'm going to keep that spacesuit in my hand, and I'm going to discard these cards. I do have a choice. I could put on my spacesuit immediately for that 3rd action. However, I'm going to get myself 1 space closer to the greenhouse because I feel pretty safe. This area is not damaged too bad. Okay? So that is the 3 actions. We're now going to roll, and we've got an 11. 11 gets damaged, and where's 11? Oh, right here. The bridge is now damaged. So now that is damaged. Oh, bridge. Bridge is down to 1. Okay. Spacesuit's on. We are going to take TikTok. We got food. We got power pack. We don't have navigations. TikTok's going to jump right up here to navigations for 1. Activate the room. Now we got 3 of the 4. The only one we need that's left is the life support. So that was 1, 2. Let's jump over here to the laboratory. Yes, we'll jump over here to laboratory for the 3rd action because we're on our way to life support. Now it's the next player's turn. 3. Oh, maintenance just lost power. So now that is down. Okay, now we only have 1, the navigation codes. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3rd action, activating to grab those food rations. Now it is Chad's turn. 5, 6, 7. 7 is now damaged. Oh, and the engine room just went down. So if there was anybody that would have been standing in there, they just would have have to jump and lose all their cards unless they had a spacesuit. So now if anybody comes here, you can't come here unless you have a spacesuit to repair, or you have to repair remotely. So let's say you're a player that doesn't have a spacesuit, but you need the engine room to be able to activate it to get a power pack. You're going to have to figure out how to get this engine room healed at least twice, so it's patched up, it's not open to space, and it has power. So you're going to have to figure out how to do that through like remote, or you're going to have to get to the maintenance room, or if you have a spacesuit, you can just walk right in and do what you need to do. So that's why the spacesuit is so powerful. And that would be Chad's damage roll. Now Chad needs to go ahead. Let's move right up here for 1. Let's take the navigation codes for 2. And then we are going to probably get our way towards this area. Or, you know what? We're going to use the third action to do remote scavenge, which means you can take any cube from any area and repair any other cube from another area. So we're going to take 1 from the sensor, and we're going to bring we're going to patch the engine room up, because now we only have to heal at 1, and Chad does need the power pack. So let's get that engine room back online. And that's Chad's third action. Now, we're going to go ahead and pause the demo there. Oh, I said we're going to pause the demo there, but I feel like we need to go one more round. I know this is getting long, but the game is really fun, and I want to show at least one of these pods getting taken out, or maybe a cascade. We'll see what we can get here. One more round, and that's the end of it, okay? So we got 6, 7. Oh, there goes engine room again. Offline. Another meteoroid hit it and blast another big freaking hole in it. Okay, so now what do we want to do? We want to move 1 here. Room is powered up. We're going to get our food rations. So now we have 2 characters that have 3 of the 4 items that they need. And then we're going, that was, 1, 2. We're going to jump right back over here for 3. And on the next turn, we're going to go up there for the navigations code. And we're going to look at that, try to get out of here. But the engine room has got to have power as well. And we got to have the fuse set, which we haven't done yet. Okay, because this character only knows, you know what we're going to do? For that third action, we're going to move here instead, because the room is just powered down. And, I don't have my spacesuit on. This is deadly. And I did use my third action to do that. The spacesuit is not on. Hopefully this room doesn't get activated, or I'm going to lose all the items in my card or in my hand and have to jump. Okay, that was my third action. That's what I chose to do. Okay, so now we go here to TikTok. We damage. That was a 6. It was a 3 and a 3. So room 6 gets damaged. Oh, getting close. Room 6 gets damaged. Now it's offline. And now we need to figure out what we want to do here. So we need the life support. So we're going to do 1, 2. We're just going to move all the way down to life support for 3. That's probably going to tell other players you really need that, because you're using all your actions to just get there. Turn's over. Right? Next turn for the next player, which is going to be 7. Room 7 is now damaged, which is the engine room. Now, if there's a room that's already damaged, oh, and I'm sorry, we didn't do the cascading. So when that room lost its final 1, it would have damaged maintenance. Maintenance would still have 1. No, it wouldn't. This would have been the final. It would have been the final damage for maintenance. So we're going to have to kind of back up a little bit there. I forgot to do the cascade. So maintenance would have been damaged. Okay. This one went completely empty, so it would have cascaded off. It would have damaged this one by 1. It would have been damaged this one by 1. So that's where we would actually be right now after the damage to the engine room going down. So you can kind of see how that cascade whips through there. It's not good, okay? Now, once a room's already completely down, if that would have happened, and I would have done that right, and then it would have been hit again, basically the blast just kind of goes right through the hull of the ship, and it wouldn't be like a secondary cascade or anything, okay? That wouldn't scale very well. Okay, so now we're here. We're still good. Actually, we wouldn't have been able to... No, we got a spacesuit, so we would have been able to move through the maintenance room because we had a spacesuit on. If we wouldn't have had a spacesuit on, we would have had to take another route. So that's why that spacesuit is also very powerful. Okay, it is now this player's turn. And, well, I already did the damage. That was the damage to the... I'm gonna have to roll again because that would have already been damaged. So we'll go here, and I rolled a 10. So now the teleporter has been damaged, And we are into the yellow area now, which means this player and this player's abilities for their role are now activated. Okay, so we are now needing to... this player knows this is a C, so we need to just get over to life support and the engine room. I'm going to go ahead and use an action to scavenge and do a remote repair. We're going to take it from... Not a remote repair. You can take one cube from one room and repair another one. That's action 1, action 2, and action 3. And you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do second action. I'm going to use my third action to activate that spacesuit and get my spacesuit on, or I'm going to be in trouble. Now we are here to this turn. Roll to 2. So we come here in damage room 2. Operations just got damaged. Now, when ship reaches the yellow, which it has, you immediately gain navigation codes. So, it is now... Why did I do that? So I forgot. I went up there and messed with navigation codes. I should have just waited until my ability activated, and I would have immediately got the navigation codes once the ship reached there. So that wasn't a very smart strategic move on my part, trying to play all 4 characters here. However, I did it. So, we got a spacesuit, so we're now going to activate... We are going to move 1, 2, 3. We're just going to jump right into the maintenance area. It's open to space, but we're wearing a spacesuit, and we can do that. Our turn would then be over. So we are going to pause there at this time. Now, we didn't get a situation where one of these rooms lost power fully. If any of these rooms would have fully lost power, that's when these pods would have started to break off and not be part of the game any longer. So we would continue play, obviously, until one player had all 4 of the cards that they needed to have. The engine room, again, would have to have at least power, and we'd have to have the fuse set. We set the fuse by going to the bridge on the right coded pod that we knew that fuse A went with pod A, and we'd have to get to that room and then use an action to board the pod and then leave. And then at that point in time, you would check those, and then you would show every other player that you have all 4 cards, and you'd be the winner of Mission Catastrophe. So hopefully, we went a little long there with the gameplay, because I wanted to go enough rounds that give you as a player the feel for how this game works, and the mechanics and how the mechanics are going to work out as you're playing the game. It's a really fun game, team. I highly recommend this title. Don't forget about the 2 epic level giveaway packages that we're doing. If you want to hear about that, if you want to remember, you can rewind to the beginning of the video. I go through in depth how both paths of those epic level giveaways will work. Don't miss out on this one. It's a fun title. It's got a lot of mechanics, and it is a good time. So hit that like, subscribe below to join the team. Keep rolling in, Chris. This has been the McGuire Review, and we'll see you next time.